So around 11:30 at night, I crashed. I kind of we're going down this steep kind of jeep track sort of thing down towards one of the rocky stream crossings they have.
Yeah.
And I hit some sort of rut and ended up on the middle nasty line, and my tire dug in somewhere, and I flew over the bars.
Oh, no.
Yeah, kind of landed right on my shoulder. It was one of those where it felt like we were descending at like 25, 30 miles an hour. It might not have been quite that fast.
Sure.
But it felt like a pretty big crash, and I stood up and I was like, oh, I'm actually okay. Kind of surprised,
sure.
But straight back on the bike and caught back onto that group.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of chased on for 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes later was following someone on another one of the kind of really fast stream crossings you do at the bottom of the descents. And I don't know what we hit, but he flatted and I double flatted.
Oh, goodness.
So that was around midnight. And that took, that was 10 minutes to fix that, I think.
KOM Cycling and Michigan Midpack Media, welcome to the Dirty Chain Podcast, the podcast that covers the cycling scene from the viewpoint of the Michigan Midpack. I am your host, Trevor, and on this episode, we talk all about Unbound XL, the 350-mile race out of Emporia, Kansas, with Michigan racer and rider Adam Hockley. And you all don't understand how happy I am to not only do this intro right now, but be able to release this episode. It has been quite a few weeks since I've released an episode, but quite frankly, since I've done much of anything. If you haven't heard, I was in a somewhat serious cycling accident and broke some ribs, broke my collarbone, been through surgery. We talk a little bit about this on the episode, so I'm not going to get into too many details, but it's been a journey, and I'm sure a lot of you listening have been through similar accidents, broken bones. This, for me, was the first time something like this has happened, so I'm just trying to deal with it the best I can, and I am feeling better, and I really appreciate everyone reaching out to me and the support I've gotten. But I am on the mend and grateful to be back at it. I'm not necessarily riding my bike yet. It's only been 4 or 5 weeks since the accident, and less than 2 weeks since my clavicle surgery. Haven't been Zwifting a little bit, but not quite on the bike yet, and not too worried about getting back on it too quickly. I want to make sure that I'm healed correctly before that happens. But I tell you what, and again, I'm sure a lot of you relate, when you are on the sideline with an injury, it sure seems like everything is going on that you are not a part of. Definitely like a FOMO situation here. Not only Unbound, which happened a couple weeks ago, and I know a few people from this area went out there, and it just looked like a incredible year once again. But there's been some great racing locally, and not necessarily, the injury hasn't really kept me from racing or going to events. I mean, right away I was expecting to go to the mountain bike race Mohican 100. That was right. I crashed right before that, so I wasn't able to go to that. But the weather is so beautiful now, and it's definitely summer, and it's really tough to be stuck inside and not riding. But yeah, it was a blast to follow everyone taking on Lumberjack 100 last weekend, and it looked like beautiful weather for that, and what an incredible event that I feel like I'm missing out because I've never done it. So I'm going to have to put that on my list. And coming right up on the heels of that, of course, this weekend is Coast to Coast, which I was going to do and, of course, am not going to do now, but will be at the finish line in Ludington. So I hope to see all those that are taking that on at the finish. So I am excited to be there, even though I'm not racing. I'm just excited to be in that environment. Yeah, so a few weeks ago, I saw that local Ann Arbor rider, Adam Hockley, was taking on Unbound XL, the 350-mile adventure race. And man, that thing has become... I feel like it's become faster and faster each year, as all these rides are, and I think we kind of talked about it. I think he averaged over 17 miles an hour. He came in 12th place. He absolutely crushed it. And I followed him on the I followed his dot through the whole progress, and I can't believe how well he did. So when he got back, I thought, man, for sure I have to talk with Adam. Him and I have raced against each other and ridden with each other the last couple seasons, and he's just a great guy, and great to finally sit down and have a long chat with him. And I was kind of blown away, and I think you will be too, about how kind of calm he is about the whole thing. I would be much more nervous about going into that kind of situation, and he just maybe nonchalant is a good term. It seemed like he just approached it as I'm just gonna go do this, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and it worked. It seemed like it worked great for him. So I'll let him tell you more about that. But thank you, Adam, for coming to the house and chatting with me about Unbound. It was great to get back into the podcast swing. And hopefully I won't be taking another 5-week break from releasing episodes in the future, and kind of get back into the swing of things here. But for now, let's listen to my conversation with Adam Hockley about the Unbound XL. I was thinking about this as you were on your way here. Mm-hmm. I've had people ride to do a podcast before, especially like when Sheldon was in town, he would like ride his bike over, or like other people that lived in Lansing or close to me. But I've never had anyone, I guess, go to as much trouble to get here to record a podcast. Explain. I guess you haven't done much riding yet, but
I've done probably 5 kilometers of riding this so far.
Hey, well, this is the United States of America. How far?
3 miles.
Okay,
I've probably ridden so far. I'll try to keep everything imperial.
Yes, please translate.
So I did 1.5 miles in Ann Arbor to get to the bus station, and then got the bus straight to East Lansing and did 1.5 miles from downtown East Lansing to here.
And your plan is
and then after this, ride back to Ann Arbor, which is the 60-mile section of riding.
And that's not too bad, though.
Yeah, that'll be okay.
It's a little windy. Did you check the wind?
It's cross tailwind, so it's mostly good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you make a course for it already, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, I've made a course. Trying to tick off a load of new roads that I haven't done before. So
I wonder. I'd be interested to see the course.
I will definitely show you before I go, because you can give me tips on the way out of East Lansing.
Sure, I'm trying to. It's kind of. You can probably go through like. I don't know. Yeah, I'd be interested. There was. And speaking of Sheldon, there was like a year where he rode down to, I think it was either Bloom or one of Nick's other rides. And he rode from here down there, did the ride, and rode back. And I think there was like. That was 1 week he did.
That's a big day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like, in probably true Sheldon fashion, he blew up somewhere. I should ask him, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid ride if you're doing, even if it was one of the ones that starts in Dexter, that's 50 miles each way.
Yep. And I think it was like either a 100K ride or 100 miles once he got into Ann Arbor.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then he came back.
Yeah.
But he also, there was a Lowell where he rode out to Lowell and then raced Lowell.
Yeah.
And I think he quit Lowell in the middle of it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like had me drive him home. he was in bad shape.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But
Yeah.
I'm like super grateful that you were willing to come out, because I've kind of been, I can't go I can't go very far on my own right now.
Yeah.
And this is like some of the most excitement I've had in like a month.
Yeah.
Getting off my crash. So
Yeah.
like I really appreciate you making like the extra effort
Yeah.
to come here. And so
Yeah, no worries. It's great to be here. Yeah.
I was surprised. I guess I wasn't surprised when I saw that you did Unbound XL, but I didn't. I guess I haven't talked to you like since Barry or something.
Yeah, I
like
probably
that.
haven't seen you since then. Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of the, the local things here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But was that like a plan from the beginning of the year? Like this is like a big race that you. I mean, it's hard to just decide to do 300 and how many?
350 miles.
Yeah, you can't just decide to do that like the week of. But
yeah, it was definitely the big one for the season. Like kind of December, I think I booked it. And it was kind of the lottery thing. You put your name in for it, and you don't really have to commit then until they let you in, and then you're in and start training. Yeah. So
wasn't it years ago that you had to have like so many races that you've done that were similar? Was there anything like that, or does it just put in a name?
Yeah, it was just put in a name this year. I know. So Brad, who I went down there with, he'd signed up originally in 2019, I think, and he had to do an essay and go through his different race results. But yeah, there was none of that this year. You just had to put your name in. So I don't know exactly how the lottery system works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just luck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. So you have in the past always been kind of focused on the ultra endurance, but this is like kind of beyond that, right? Have you done anything that far, that kind of distance?
Yeah, my so the longest I'd done before was coast to coast, which is 210.
Okay.
So yeah, this was by far the furthest. 350 compared to 210, and probably tougher course, more hilly, more rocky. So yeah, it was a lot longer. So
Speaking of coast to coast, are you doing coast to coast?
No, I have to work.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I have a conference next weekend, so yeah.
So I signed up. This is going to be a tangential conversation, but I've been signed up for, this would be the third year, and I won't be able to do it again because I'm broken, but
Yeah.
but 2020 didn't happen, and I signed up for 2020 like early.
Okay.
So that, of course, transferred to last year. I was like transitioning jobs, and it was I was working that week. It was like the last weekend I was working, and I was like, I can't like try to get away for this. So moved it to this year. Was kind of like building up toward it.
Yeah.
Really excited to do it because I've never done it. I just really want to do it. And then, there's no way. There's no way. But I will be.
Yeah.
Rachel and I are gonna. We had a hotel in Ludington. For the finish, and we're like, let's just go hang out.
Yeah.
And so that's our plan. We're just gonna go up there, hang out. And I like that this year. I guess this is the way it usually is, but it was weird last year because of pandemic rules or stuff. But both the 100 and the full distance
on the same day.
Yeah. So hopefully see some people.
See a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Let's get my racing fix, even though I'm not on a bicycle.
Yeah. How long ago was the crash now?
So it's been 5 weeks now.
Okay. Yeah.
And I thought maybe, so 5 weeks sounds like, they say 4 to 6 weeks or, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought maybe I could try to sneak in coast to coast.
Okay.
It'd be kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
like that's of course everyone thinks something stupid like that when they first. But my problem was I got to my 2-week like appointment or checkup or whatever, and they found that my collarbone wasn't healing right.
Okay.
So then I had to go back in and have surgery on it.
Yeah.
And that was 3 weeks after.
Yeah.
So I've only been out of post-surgery like not even 2 weeks yet.
Yeah.
So that kind of set me back a little bit.
That'd be a rough 200 miles. That would damage you a lot worse than you already are.
Correct. Yeah. No, to be stupid, I'm not. There's no way I would attempt it, and there's no way I even could. Like, I can't even think about just the even like sitting here like this is like I'm gonna be like moving around trying to, and that's the kind of collarbone and ribs. But
is that the worst of it then? Are legs mostly okay?
Yeah, legs are fine.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with legs, or like didn't break any bones down there. Hips fine. It's just it was ribs. A lot of ribs, and collarbone, and I hit my head pretty good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at this point, it's just the ribs heal super slow.
Okay.
And they still hurt, and then the collarbone. So
yeah,
I don't know. I have an appointment tomorrow, so we'll see what they say.
Yeah.
But I have been Zwifting a little bit. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
I can I feel fine on the bike and moving my legs. Kind of the position of my arm is I gotta like move that around just so it doesn't get too sore or whatever.
I imagine you want like a bit more of an upright position, keep some weight off the arms and shoulder and stuff.
And then it's just like I get kind of sore with my back, like and the ribs and everything. Yeah. But I've been able to like kind of work up slowly to riding an hour.
Yeah. And that's what Zwift's great for. You don't have any of the potholes and stuff from outside that are really going to beat you up at first.
Exactly. Yeah. I have like a fear of like the first pothole I hit after I go back out. Just like the feel of just hitting the bike and then going right into my collarbone, like just the feel of it. But it'll but yeah. So just trying to take it easy, and I would like to still race a couple things this season, and I think maybe by next month I can be back outside. But
you mentioned Ore to Shore, so
yeah,
that sounds like a good goal.
Want to try to be better for Ore to Shore, and whether that's just like going and riding, or like like I don't know how much I'd be racing it at that point. I mean, I could, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So
return to the mid pack for a little bit, and then
join
the front of the pack where you were.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. If it's a mountain bike race, I'll be like mid pack no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm not very fast, but So talk about the lead up to Unbound. There's so many details that I'm sure you had to go through. You just mentioned that you went out there with someone, but that was like a first question I had is like, did you have a crew? You can't even be crewed, can you?
Yeah, there's no crew allowed on the XL, but you have to have a support team that, if you need picking up from middle of nowhere in the middle of the night, they'll come and get you. But you can't have a crew come and meet you on the way with supplies or anything like that. So you're just relying on gas stations and convenience stores.
So you just went out with one other person?
Yep, just drove out there with Brad, who one of the other Ann Arbor Velo Club guys who works at Sick Transit. And we kind of drove out there together. It's a good amount of drive. It's like 13 hours, so that was a long day on the way there. And then we split it in two on the way back. We couldn't quite handle the 13-hour drive.
How many hours were you on the bike?
Total time was 22 hours, 18 minutes, I think, something like that.
So 22 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a little more.
Than the amount of driving.
Yeah, or just a little less than the amount of driving.
A little less than the amount of driving, yeah. But close, same sort of ballpark.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was like 13, 14 hours to get to Stillwater, Oklahoma for Mid-South. Yeah. And I'm like, but this is only a century, like all this, you drive like 28 hours total. Yeah. And then you just do a century.
Doing like a 4 or 5 day trip for a 5-6 hour race.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you go out there just one person, then, talk through some of these details because, you are self-supported. I'm assuming like you had to run like a whole gamut of like lights and did you have like a battery pack for your GPS and all this?
Yeah, so electronic wise I had the GPS and I had a spare Garmin as well, just in case. And then I had just a single front light that could last 11 hours. But then I had a battery pack as well to be able to recharge the Garmin's or light if I needed to.
Okay.
But yeah, I did recharge the Garmin through the night because I was talk of rain coming in the morning, so I wanted to get the charging done so I didn't have to have the charging while it was raining. That kind of
Did you get rained out?
Oh yeah, the last 2 hours were
oh man,
seriously wet, seriously cold.
What time of the day was that?
Around midday. Yeah.
So was that the same rain that the 200 milers hit?
Yeah, I hit it a bit before them. So I finished a bit before the 200 milers, probably a couple of hours before.
Okay.
So I didn't get the really thick, like sticky mud that some people had. That was just kind of, they couldn't turn their wheels because it was just clogging up everything. I kind of hit those parts while it was just had only been raining for half an hour or so. So it was just wet, splashy, cold, but it wasn't like the thick mud.
Let's rewind a little bit to like your decision of doing this.
Okay, yeah.
What did you think you had a better chance getting into like the 350 than the 200? Is that or did you like initially think that the 350 was the one that you wanted to do?
I think I knew the 350 was the one I wanted to do. I wanted to do, the longest one they have.
Sure.
I've kind of done that for every race I've done so far.
Well, sure, but like on paper, like, or other races, 200 miles is way longer than, like some of the longest ones around in this area is just like maybe 200. Yeah. Coast to coast or something. But like, I mean,
there was also that thing of if you're going so far doing the long drive to Kansas and back, I want to do something that I don't know if I can finish well, something I haven't done before.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but it's just, and then, so you said you signed up in December.
Yep.
So you were, now, what kind of training, I know like we were talking about like last time, I think I saw you at Barrie. Have you raced since Barrie? Or you just been putting in a lot of miles? I mean, I'm just trying to think like the amount, I mean, did you focus on a different type of training, or did you just like kind of stick to the same stuff you've been doing before? And then
I did do lots of just long zone 2 rides, and just trying to get in lots of hours in the week. After Barrie I did Lowell, which was a mass start this year. Yep. Not the TT. But yeah, after that.
Oh, you and Stanko went 1-2. Like, or 2-1 or whatever.
Yeah, like tied first.
Yeah.
So since then I just kind of focused on doing super long rides. I didn't do anything longer than, I did 200 miles as my longest kind of training ride. That was kind of get the train to the other side of the state and then ride back.
Okay.
Kind of similar to what I'm doing today.
Just not as long.
Yeah, with less beer. But it's, and then there was, I did a 200 mile training ride and a 170 training ride. That one didn't go too good, actually. My calf cramped up. And that was 3 weeks before the race. So it was kind of my last long ride, and then that one didn't go well. So I was a bit concerned. But that might flare up again going into the race. But
you? Yeah, you had some leg issues like last year too. Or maybe, was it just this season? Or maybe I'm thinking...
Nothing too much last season. Mostly this season.
This season, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But everything worked on race day. So
yeah. So did you have one of the actual dots? It was like a dot following thing, right?
Yeah. There was
like a tracker that you were all given a tracker.
Yeah, you could bring your own or you could rent one. I didn't have one, so I rented a tracker, and you could it was online tracking where everyone could follow along.
I guess it's kind of a dumb question because I knew it was like you all had a tracker because I was watching you.
Oh yeah.
And again, like I don't think I realized until I saw like you were heading out there. I was like, oh man, I didn't know Adam was doing this. And and then I don't know if you know Tristan Smith, like him and I were like texting back and forth, kind of watching you, and I mean, first of all, like an amazing finish. Like
thanks.
I mean, there were some like big names that were there that finished after you, and I mean I don't know like what your goals were, but I would assume and I hope that you left there like high like just smashing your goal.
Super happy. Yeah. I mean the main goal was just to finish. Hadn't ridden that far before, so the main goal was always to just get to the finish. And I'd had thoughts in the back of my head about top 10, but in general, I was very happy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that was.
And you were 10th, right?
I was 12th in the end. When I crossed the finish line, it said I was 10th.
Oh.
And there were a few people who, like, their trackers hadn't worked or their finish scanning hadn't worked. So, I crossed the finish and looked, and I was 10th. And then throughout the rest of the day, I dropped down to 12th.
You're only 12th?
Yeah. So,
Man, I take
back all the congratulations. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's still, like, that's so incredible.
Yeah.
Like you said, like, just even finishing it is such a huge accomplishment. Yeah. But just to stay, I mean, let's talk about, like, the ride itself. I mean, you mentioned getting muddy.
Yeah.
What about, like, fitness-wise, how did you fare?
I think I felt pretty good until the next day, until you ride into the next day, kind of when you're 18 hours in, started to really feel it. But yeah, the first stakes start at 3 p.m. And from there until sunset, I felt really good. I was working well in groups, and kind of the group I was in kept getting, like, whittled down.
Sure.
Eventually, kind of in a front group of, I think we were in a group of 6 with one person off the front when the sun went down. And
so it stayed together a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty fast. The roads were pretty good. Nothing too crazy. So yeah, it's mostly stayed together.
Okay.
Kind of coming towards the first aid station, we were probably 10 miles out from the first convenience store. And it was a group of 40 or so.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and there were a few of us who clearly had the same thought of, like, we need to push the pace a bit, because I don't want to be hitting that first convenience store in a group of 40.
Oh my God.
And if you're last in the queue to the checkout, there's going to be big splits.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even think about that, but that's so right.
Yeah.
Well, so wait, you said first aid station, but were there aid stations?
So no aid stations, just kind of convenience stores, gas stations, that sort of thing. Some of which were just staying open.
Casey, whatever.
Casey's, yeah. I went to my first Casey's. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I know there's the...
did you have the pizza?
I did have pizza.
You had to, right?
Yeah. And I sent my selfie to Tom Keller as my application to join the Casey's cycling team.
Did he send you?
He sent me a t-shirt.
Yeah, I have one upstairs.
Nice. Yeah, I got one. So
good.
I'm now
team
part
Casey's,
of the Casey's cycling team. My first ever C-stop. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it was good.
So you rolled into that first one, and it was whittled down quite a bit.
Yeah, we'd got it down to a group of 12 or so.
Okay.
There was kind of one steepish hill where a few of us pushed the pace and really split that big group, which needed to happen, really.
Yeah. So how long until you were solo? Or by yourself, I guess. Solo sounds like you're ahead,
so kind of going into the night, I was in a group of 6 of us, and we think there was one person off the front. It always got very complicated with once you're in the dark and you're all kind of splitting up in gas stations and then coming back together and you don't know who's left and who hasn't. So trying to figure out what position you are on the road got very complicated. But I think...
Are you guys working together at this point?
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone was, like, taking pulls when they could.
Okay.
There wasn't much kind of... I don't know, there wasn't people sitting on and getting angry about other people working and some people not. It was always, people working together quite well.
I would assume the way people approach these ultra distance, super ultra distant, I guess, it would be totally different if you knew that you were gonna be riding basically by yourself the whole time.
Yeah.
Versus like, I'm going to try to stay in a group as long as I can.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee there were probably people that started with you all and said, no, I'm not even going to like try to stick with a group. I'm just going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then like your whole approach changes, like how you prepare and then also mentally like how you go through it. But you were just trying to stay with people as long as you could?
Yeah, kind of, maybe not like quite as long as I could, but until it got too hard that felt unreasonable. I wanted to stay with a fast group until like not quite until blowing up, but until like a little bit before blowing up. And the group I was with them until around midnight when I kind of started having all my misfortune of the night.
Okay.
Which was like so around 11:30 at night I crashed. I kind of we're going down this steep kind of jeep track sort of thing down towards one of the rocky stream crossings they have.
Yeah.
And I hit some sort of rut and ended up on the middle nasty line, and my tire dug in somewhere and I flew over the bars.
Oh, no.
Yeah, kind of landed right on my shoulder.
Is that the kit you were wearing?
Yeah, this one with the hole in back there. Yeah. But yeah, so kind of landed on that, and then it was one of those where it felt like we were descending at like 25, 30 miles an hour. It might not have been quite that fast.
Sure.
But it felt like a pretty big crash, and I stood up and I was like, oh, I'm actually okay. Kind of surprised,
Sure.
but straight back on the bike and caught back onto that group.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably like a 30, 40 second gap or something. So kind of chased on for 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes later was following someone on another one of the kind of really fast stream crossings you do at the bottom of the descents. And I don't know what we hit, but he flatted and I double flatted.
Oh, goodness.
So that was around midnight. And that took, that was 10 minutes to fix that, I think.
Do you feel like it was because it was dark that kind of caused a crash for you, and kind of, I mean,
possibly.
Usually you can see pretty well.
Yeah.
With lights, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess in my experience.
Yeah.
But the one thing, it's like, you don't see like really far in front of you, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weird, like, riding at night is just different, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you've like ridden in the middle of the night.
I've done a few night rides, not loads, and definitely nothing that technical.
Uh-huh.
It was, you're hitting those kind of rocky stream crossings that you're hitting, going super fast at the bottom of the descents, and no one was taking them easier because it was nighttime. The people at the front could see, so it was just if you're at the back of the group, you follow their line, and if you're not quite on their line, you might hit something nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there was some sketchy moments.
Yeah. How bad were your flats? I mean, did the sealant take care of them, or did you have to put in a plug, or?
Yeah, so a plug in the back. The front one, the sealant, sealed it eventually. I did run loads of sealant, so that was a good move, I think. But yeah, a plug in the back. It kind of, and I got them both holding pressure, and then rode, 5 minutes up the road, and then they were both slowly leaking again. So I had to stop and repump them up. And after that, they fully sealed for the rest of the race. So
what tires were you riding?
I was doing the Pirelli Cinturato M's.
Okay.
Kind of the faster rolling ones in like a 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with those.
Yeah.
Or is that what you have on your bike right now?
No, they're not. I'm mostly doing road on the way home.
Oh,
so,
okay. That's smart. Yeah, it'll be faster.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no. So, but yeah, they seem to do. Apart from that, and it was kind of like the guy in front of me. He punctured as well, so I don't know exactly what we hit, but it was probably something quite sharp and nasty.
Sure.
But the tires were great apart from that.
Tell me about. I mean, everyone that does Unbound says it's different gravel, quote unquote gravel. I mean, it's the flint, the rocky flint, and everything is way sharper, and and then it can get like super chunky at times. Like, I mean, what was your take on it?
I think so. This year they were doing the south course instead of going north. Which apparently is generally faster. And I think all the finish times from this year show that. And lots of the kind of dirt roads, they were pretty good. They weren't nothing too big and chunky, nothing crazy. But then you just hit these like short, sharp descents where you have a stream crossing at the bottom that might be a foot of water with just big rocks scattered along the bottom. And you hit those going fast, and you just hold on and hope that you get out the other side doing okay. So yeah, there was some just holding on and hoping at times.
Man.
Those were just big sharp rocks at the bottom of the water.
But every time I see a picture of that area in Kansas, it's like completely exposed and like almost zero trees.
Oh yeah.
How was the wind?
The wind was. It was meant to be really good, but it was meant to be a little bit of a headwind on the way out.
Okay.
In the evening of the first day.
Meant to be.
Yeah. And then it was the second day it was meant to pick up and have a strong tailwind all the way back to town, which would have been lovely, but it didn't really happen that way. I remember in the morning. And we ended up in the morning. You go back up onto the highest hills. I remember being up there and it's completely still. It's like, where's this 20-mile-an-hour tailwind we're meant to have? That would have been nice right about now. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was really exposed. Luckily, it wasn't super hot. It was quite grey and just kind of cloudy. So not super hot, no risk of sunburn. It was all pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you mentioned when you mentioned crashing, were you wearing I'm assuming you were wearing a backpack?
Yeah, hydration pack sort of thing.
What else did you do for water though? I mean, did you just because you were stopping at Casey's or convenience stores, I guess?
Yeah. I had 2 bottles and hydration pack, about 3 liters of water storage in total. Which there was a convenience store every 60 miles.
That's not bad.
So it was plenty. I actually often had more than I needed. I wouldn't run out before getting to the next place.
What did you carry for nutrition then?
I did mostly. So I carried bags of my drink mix that I use, and then I carried food for the first 120 miles because I carried food for the first 120 miles because I didn't want to have to buy food at the first convenience store because I knew it might be a bit manic. If you're rolling in with a big group, you just want to get water and get in and out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then most of them I just grabbed water and then used my drink mix and picked up whatever food I thought looked good at the time.
Sure.
Which sometimes was good choices and sometimes not good choices.
What was the best thing that you ate at the convenience store? What was the worst thing that you got?
The Casey's kind of the pizza, and I got like a glazed.
Is it both the worst and the best?
Possibly. I got at the Casey's, which was the last one, so I was like, I'm gonna treat myself with this one. I got pizza and like a glazed bun sort of thing.
Yeah.
They were pretty good, but the next 10 miles they weren't so good. At the time, they were amazing. Yeah. But yeah, mostly I just did kind of Cliff Bars, that sort of stuff. Not much like real food until the pizza, which is why it was so good at the time. Yeah.
But you had no bonking issues or anything like that?
Bonking's kind of different when you keep going for that long because you're kind of constantly bonking and just kind of right on the edge of it and trying to just maintain some sort of power while really not having much energy.
Yeah, for sure. How did your body fare? I know when I did Cohutta recently, and that was a pretty long race for me. I mean, it was 100-mile mountain bike race, so it was a lot longer than some of the other 100-mile gravel races. But my lower back hurt so bad, and I'd stop, I'd stretch, it just wouldn't and I think eventually it kind of loosened up and I was fine. But I mean, you're bound to come across something like that, right? How did you fare?
I would say the worst part, there was kind of in the arch of my foot in there was a kind of crampy sort of feeling for a couple of hours at one point, but then it went away again. But that was kind of the most painful thing. It was kind of every pedal stroke, just kind of pain in the arch of the foot.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there was, everything gets a little bit achy, but nothing kind of major that made me consider stopping.
Man, I think that's pretty incredible. I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, there's probably so many variables that can occur that can make you stop.
Yeah.
Whether it be a bike mechanical or a physical mechanical.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So to hear that, of course, you're gonna hurt no matter what.
Yeah.
After you were done and taking stock of your body and your bike, what did you still feel like you got through it pretty unscathed, or did you have terrible blisters or?
Yeah, there wasn't anything major. The bike was fine. I wasn't sure because the last 2 hours in the rain were quite severe. Lots of grinding.
Oh, God.
Just that sound where every pedal stroke you're like, this sounds expensive. But yeah, bike was okay with a big clean, and I still had brake pads in there. Still had. Chain wasn't too stretched.
I feel like you've had some bad luck with bad weather too.
Yeah, coast to coast last year was probably the worst.
Oh my God.
That was kind of what I had flashbacks to for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, rain like the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Different bike though. You have a whole different bike.
Whole new bike, yeah.
But then, like, what was your first race on that bike? Was Barry?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to laugh, but
the bike only just survived that one.
Really?
There was like ice build up, and it had been like scraping into the frame, but it just only went through the paint, not into any of the carbon. Luckily.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was a close call.
Yeah. And then wasn't Lowell like a little snowy at the beginning?
Yeah, there was.
It wasn't terrible though, right?
Yeah, there's that seasonal road, Snows Lake Road, I think it is. That was pretty slushy, pretty kind of cold, wet puddles with lots of deep mud and stuff. That's kind of where we attacked through that because we knew it was going to be pretty technical. It was probably more technical than we expected it to be.
Oh, really?
But apart from that, most of the roads at Lowell were okay. Nothing too bad.
Yeah.
It dried off. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, just a little bit of mud at Unbound then.
Yeah. Just the last 2 hours, and it was about 60 degrees and raining for those last 2 hours, and I was freezing cold. I was like soaked through. And all the people because I was getting passed by people in the 100, and they were all soaked through, but didn't seem as cold as I was. I think I'd just been on the bike for too long, and every barn I went past, I was considering, should I jump in that one? Try and warm up for half an hour? Maybe that one, and I'm kind of glad the perfect barn didn't appear because I might have just jumped straight into it.
10 out of 10 Ted King barn was never happened.
Yeah, if that one was there, I probably would have laid down for 2 hours and given up on my finished position.
I don't think you get up from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously it was hard, and they're like you said, there's a moment like your double flat, your crash.
Yeah.
Were there other tough moments? I mean, the whole thing sounded tough, but any other like tough? Any other specific things?
Yeah, I think so. In the last, when you're around like mile 300 or so, you go back up onto Texaco Hill, it's called, from the other side, which you're kind of up onto the high parts of the Flint Hills, and getting back up onto that was super tough.
Just the climbing up
just
there?
The climbing, and it was loose, rocky climbing. You're just in your lowest gear, wishing for a few more.
So people talk about climbing, or like the hills there, and is there anything you can put into perspective for us that haven't done it? Like, I mean, we come from relatively flat area here in Michigan, and I think it's kind of a thing where it's like, well, no, I mean, you don't think of like a lot of climbing in Kansas, but it's actually very hilly. So like, what is there anything that you can put into perspective for us, or like anything that you can compare it to in this area, or that?
I'm not sure I think I can compare it to really in this area, but it's just like there's no really long sustained climbs. There's no like 10-minute long climbs, but it's constantly up and down, like gradually working its way up. Just every time the uphill's a bit longer than the downhills, you've just got these kind of relentless climbs where you don't get enough recovery between each one. And when they're super loose and rocky as well, it really takes it out of you. I'm not sure. Kind of nothing to compare it to in Southeast Michigan, at least.
Yeah, I know that makes sense. I guess this is probably not even that, but this is what I do love about going to different races in different areas. Is it's like so different. Like doing like when I did Cohutta with a mountain bike race, but the climbing was insane. Yeah. Or like Belgian waffle ride. It probably any of them, but the one I did was like North Carolina. I mean, like you are like climbing for, I don't know how many minutes we were climbing, but like huge, like for several miles, you're climbing. And, or like my brother and I went and did the route. There was this Whiskey Rebellion, I think it was, and it's like around Pittsburgh. And I don't know if you've ever been to Pittsburgh area, but like it's not like mountains, but it's just like steep, super steep hills, and our elevation was still like 100 miles per or 100 feet per mile. Is that what it is? 100 feet per mile is like, so you have like 10K for a 100 mile.
Okay.
But it was still like
I do metric on all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
It was still over 10K. But but it was like you looked at the elevation, it was like sawtooth. It was just like straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. I don't know what
nothing
like
flat.
Yeah, what is that kind of what yours looked like?
I mean, there were some flatter sections, but yeah, it's that kind of constantly rolling, and then when you get to the actual hilly areas, it's a lot more elevation than we get around here. I think it was kind of it might be like 1,000 feet from the bottom to the top,
okay.
But not in kind of one consistent climb, just
Sure.
a gradual thing over 5 miles maybe.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. But yeah, so hard stuff. What I guess I was asking that to ask like what were some of the best moments, or what was like the best? I mean, obviously we don't go to do these kind of things just to suffer the whole time. I mean, there's got to be some redemptive moments to these rides. So like what?
I think with like any overnight ride, the sunrise is always one of the best moments.
I was wondering about how that
because,
was.
so I was in a group at that point because after the flats and crash, I'd been solo through the night for 4 hours and got caught by a group around 4 a.m. And that was a decent sized group. Around sunrise we had maybe 8 of us, and it was like we were just going up towards the bigger hills again. It was just kind of this beautiful sunrise, and then half an hour later it was just gone because it was a grey, cloudy day. But for that half an hour, it was perfect. And that was great. Everyone with smiles on their faces. Like, I don't know what, 15 hours into a race, and everyone's just out there having a great time.
Yeah,
so, it was awesome.
I've only kind of experienced that once before, but it is like, I don't know. It's like it wakes you up even though you've been riding all night, you know?
Yeah.
Or like it.
Absolutely.
Were there any other? Well, let me ask it this way, I guess. Unbound, former DK. I mean, it is probably the most well-known and popular gravel race that exists now. I would think.
Yeah. I think so.
And there's probably some stuff we could talk about that, but like, I just wonder every time I talk to someone that has done it, I wonder how, like, after you come back, do you think it was something that everyone needs to experience, or do you think that? Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it was pretty special. I mean, it was my first big. I suppose Barry-Roubaix counts as really big, but it was kind of my first really big one out of state. I've done a little one in Iowa, but yeah, it was my first big gravel race out of state. And,
what was the?
And it was,
sorry, like what? Yeah. But what was the motivation for you? Wanting to do it? I mean, was it the distance, or was it the fact that it was Unbound?
I think the fact that it's Unbound is definitely a major factor. Like, it's everyone's talking about it that whole week, and there's everyone's there, all the big names are there, and it's just it just seems like a great huge event, and
it was something you got to be at, right?
Yeah, you got to go and experience that, and like seeing. It's so like to be there, and in the evening you like look through your phone, and all the bike news on your phone is all about everything that's going on at Unbound. Who's got this special new frame? Who's got all this new technology, and all the bike brands are releasing new gear just at the Unbound weekend. To see it all riding around as well. It's really cool.
I mean, it's I think that's what attracts me to it. I don't know.
Have you not been?
No, I've never been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
No, that's
it was definitely great. It was cool. Like pre-riding the course a couple of days before, we rode past like Dylan Johnson, Peter Sagan.
Oh yeah.
And, like all the big names just like out. Just rode past them. Just rode past them.
Yeah. And I've experienced some of those. Like I've been a couple bigger gravel races that have had like some of those big, and it is like kind of like, whoa, that's kind of cool, like, and fanboy a little bit, know, but but that's what so Unbound, I know.
It was also really cool to bump into people from Michigan, because I saw so many other local people out there, kind of like people from Bear Claw, people from 3TQNM.
Oh yeah.
Don't think I saw any spin shirts out there, but yeah.
Yeah, not sure there's a spin one, but there. Yeah, Andrea Truinski, who is from the Lansing area, she was there. She's done it several times.
Okay.
But yeah, like I know that like there's quite a few
Yeah.
Michigan people out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just something I wonder. Like after you've done it for the first time, is it something that you'd say no, make that 13-hour drive out there and try it out, or?
Yeah, I would definitely do it again.
Okay, and that's
yeah.
I guess that's a good way
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Although I'd also be tempted to go and I don't have time to do loads of out-of-state races, so I'd always be tempted to do something a bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely do it again.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something about being in the like in environments like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think we have that in Michigan that you can experience, but just I mean, whether we're talking about experiencing different courses or just different places, you know,
Yeah.
I always think it's beneficial to,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just go somewhere else. But it's
Yeah.
also like kind of like a bike festival too. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, the course, kind of some of the stuff when you're up on Texaco Hill, some of the like open range stuff where there's just, you know, cattle running out and across in front of all the riders and everyone's just shouting at them. It's kind of, we were up doing some of that while the sun was going down. And that was super memorable. Just in this open range area and cattle all just like storming alongside you while you're just in a group barreling along these rural hills.
Jeez.
It's a lot of fun.
So I mean, you were self-supported. Did you, when you went into towns, were there any like crowds or was there anyone like cheering on the race at all?
Yeah, so there was a few gas stations which would have just like 2 or 3 people sat out in camp chairs, like watching people come in and cheering us, and like, you know, if you wanted to know how far ahead's the next group, how far back's that group, they would have the trackers up and that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was kind of interesting because you wouldn't see anyone for 3 or 4 hours, then you see these few people half asleep at a gas station cheering you on. It was, yeah, that was quite fun.
Oh, that's good.
And then then the next day we joined onto the 100 loop, and I like the 100 lead group went past me, and that kind of gave me another burst of energy because suddenly it's like, I was on my own at that point, and it's like, here's all these groups to draft. There's these groups of 30 flying along, and you can sit in the draft of them for as long as you can until you blow up, and then try and hold on to the next group. So yeah, that kind of changed the whole tactics of the race in some ways, because you're suddenly like, if I can draft well off these groups, you can gain a lot of time on whoever's up the road.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, and actually, there was a group that Sagan was at the front of just a group of 6 that I was drafting on for 5 or 10 minutes. So, yeah, 300 miles in, I could still draft Peter Sagan somehow.
Were you anywhere near any other finishers? Like what was the closest one before you and the closest one after you? Do you know?
So after me, the closest one after me was Cynthia, the lead female.
Okay.
So her and I had been riding together for when we were about 50 miles out from the finish.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you just like meet up and then just decide to work together?
Yeah, it was kind of like when you come across someone, it's easier to work together, even if you're not that effectively drafting off each other, just to have someone to help pace you and that sort of stuff. But I lost her when we were drafting off one of the 100 groups, and I think then all the rain hit, and it was just, I don't know, I'm not sure where. But
were you in one of those big groups when you hit the rain?
Yeah, I was going between groups in the rain, and you're just getting covered in it.
Oh,
but you're at least getting to the finish a bit faster.
Yeah. Who finished before you? Do you?
I'm not sure exactly.
I'll have to look.
I
just was wondering like how close it. But at that point, like,
looking at like tens of minutes between most people.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the winners were 2 hours ahead of me. And then
that's still wild, though. I mean, for that much distance, I still think that's pretty great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that much time. I mean,
and it was a super fast course. So it was not many people had done sub 24 hours before, and there were probably 15 of us who did it this time around.
That's crazy. I mean, you averaged like 17-ish, right, or something like that.
Yeah, something around there.
That's incredible. Yeah. Now, when you got to the finish, you go over the line. Were they able to like? Did they know that you were a XL rider, or did they announce that, or did you just get kind of like lost in the mix of 100 riders. And
I didn't hear it announced, but you got a special kind of swag bag with a Stein in it and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, the finish shoot was really long. And I remember there were some photographers at the start of it, and I was like, yeah, smile and look happy and stuff. And then as I crossed the line, I kind of forgot to smile, and there's the official photos of me crossing the line just with like how I was actually feeling. And I don't look too happy.
It's like Instagram versus reality kind of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, I just kind of forgot to smile at one point. But yeah, so as I came across the finish line, I stood around for 10 minutes or so. I saw Cynthia finish, and then I was staying at the fairgrounds. We were camping out there, and that was probably a 5 to 10 minute cycle to get back there, which after standing around for 10 minutes felt awful.
Yeah, I'm sure you're all like
yeah, really a really slow but difficult cycle. But yeah, it was quite good to finish at 2 p.m. because you can get back, get showered, have a sleep, and then get back for the after party.
Yeah.
So that was the rest of the day.
And you had enough energy to get back, like.
Yeah, after a 2-hour sleep, I was actually just kind of woke up and I was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was still light out, so kind of went to see all the other people who had finished the 100 or 200 and head to the after party. Yeah.
Would you have done anything different?
I'm not sure. I think into the next day, I didn't take any caffeine, which I'd been hammering caffeine through the night, and I think I felt pretty rough the next day, especially compared to the other people who were around me. I think I might have carried on with the caffeine.
Okay. Yeah.
Next time. But in general, the gear was pretty good. I hadn't used a tubeless plug before. That was my first one. At midnight, 9 hours into a race.
Figure it out.
Yeah, I've seen videos of it. Time to just give it a go. And I didn't have them like as handy as I should have done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like how Alexi now
has it like
right
there,
on the stem sort of thing. Yeah, that could have saved me some time. But yeah, in general, like nutrition was pretty good. Legs were pretty good.
Yeah,
I was pretty happy. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was,
well, I mean, again, like congrats for. I mean, it's hard enough to start one of those things and go through them at all, and even have like the guts to take it on. But man, I mean, you had a hell of a ride.
Yeah,
and
thanks.
It was cool to see, like. Especially because I didn't even really know you were doing it, and then like seeing that you were there, and then I'm like, man, he had one hell of a finish, and very cool.
Yeah, it was super fun to have everyone tracking along.
Yeah.
I saw some messages through the race, like whenever I'd get my phone out just to look at something and have like 20 messages like you're doing great, like keep going sort of stuff. And yeah, it was. Just kind of motivating to know that the tracker is there and people are watching it.
Sure, yeah.
It's definitely some
like,
motivation there.
You feel a little less like alone, especially like if you're riding alone. Like, you know that people are watching for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of, I think I've been thinking of Tracy Berman lately.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the Tour Divide. And,
yeah.
Been
watching some nasty weather with all the snow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be able to talk to her at her tail end of that adventure.
Yeah.
You Ann Arbor people
definitely
are
an adventure.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Like, what's your? We talked about this a little bit, but what's your next race coming up?
So next is the Crusher up in the UP.
Did you sign up before it became the? I mean, it was mass. You're doing the mass start.
I'm doing the mass start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now the mass start is like, I guess more gravel.
Yeah, I think the wording that he used is not terrible. So
we'll
see what he actually means.
Whatever that means, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you can obviously ride a gravel bike. I mean,
I'll be taking some wide tires for sure.
Sure, yeah.
Just in case, I don't know
that's 200 plus miles, right?
It's 175 this year.
Okay.
So
175
plus.
Yeah. And then you can do Moran.
Might be doing Moran. Yeah, I haven't signed up to either Moran or the BWR Michigan Traverse City yet, so still need to make the call on those. But yeah, hoping to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the play is to just shell yourself at Moran, and then go have fun at Belgian Waffle Ride.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that might be what I'm going to do Moran.
Yeah.
I want to be there for Moran. And I get worried about people not doing Moran now because of the Belgian Waffle Ride thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully people will do, if they were going to do Moran, hopefully they'll still do Moran and then like just go have fun at Belgian Waffle Ride or
absolutely.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of racing then. But October, man, I should be a whole new person too. So
Yeah.
maybe I could.
Yeah.
Well,
You're
it's
nicely rested and recovered, and you'll be coming back strong.
It's been like, this was cool. Like we've ridden together quite a bit. I mean, a lot of these longer distance races. So it was cool to see
all the series last year and the start of this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see you take on Unbound, and I guess apparently still need to find my way out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an amazing one.
Yeah.
I think you'd like it.
Cool.
It's pretty technical, so maybe your mountain bike stuff will have you prepared for that.
There's no mountain bike stuff.
No? Well, more than me at least.
I was gonna ask this. Like, are you running? You said 45s, but 700C or
650?
Okay.
Yeah, my bike can't fit 745s.
So do you have two wheel sets then? Like you have your 700C road wheel set, and then and you're riding like a Exploro, like 3T.
Yeah, 3T Explorer Race Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Brand new then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving it so far.
Okay. So you think it was a good tool for the adventure or whatever?
I think so. Like lots of mud clearance as well, because I was doing just like 650s. With 650s it could fit like a 2.2 or something. So having that with a 45, there's loads of mud clearance.
That is cool. Well, that was cool. I mean, again, congrats and good luck at the Crusher.
Crusher then Watermoo.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
Very cool, man.
Yeah,
well, thank you for making the trip out here.
Yeah, no worries.
And
great to be here.
Safe ride back.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Great, thanks.
The Dirty Chain Podcast is a Michigan Mid-Pack Media production in partnership with KOM Cycling, the source for your bike accessories and necessities. Connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Dirty Chain Podcast. Email dirtychainpodcast@gmail.com. If you are enjoying the podcast, please leave us a review or rating on whatever platform you use to listen. Audio editing and original music by myself, Trevor Gibney. Thank you to Adam Hockley for coming out and telling us all about Unbound XL. And thank you all for listening to the Dirty Chain Podcast. And as always, keep your chain clean, but get your chain dirty. We will hopefully soon see you in the mid-pack.